I'd just like to start off by, again, thanking everyone for taking time out of your day to join us. My name is Andrew Nagengast. I'm the co-founder and chief business officer at Yazi Academy. And I'd like to thank my presenters from Yazi, Google, and Digicloud for also joining us for a really interesting discussion today around transformation and securing the organization for the future using a platform like Google Workspace. And, transformation is somewhat of a buzzword these days. But what I'd like to highlight when we refer to transformation here is, with the rise of remote and hybrid work and the increasingly digitally connected teams and workforce around the continent and around the globe, it's highlighted the importance of changing and adapting and transforming how teams work together compared to how teams worked together 5 years before the pandemic. And this trend is not really changing. In fact, it's accelerating with tools like generative AI and ChatGPT and Duet AI. The capabilities of these technologies are continuing to accelerate. And so that's going to be one of the key focuses of our discussion today. So as everyone saw from the invite, the agenda for today, we're going to talk about the capabilities and how organizations are using Google Workspace today. And then our panel will also talk about, the importance of security at the core of the collaborative environment that we work in today's technology and the importance of that. And then really excited to be able to talk about, what's the future look like? You pretty much don't go a day without seeing an article about AI and the transformational capabilities it brings. So we'll also talk about how, looking to the future, these capabilities are being built into Workspace and how it can help teams accelerate. And then lastly, it's really important that even with these incredible capabilities, if teams are not trained and enabled on how to use these capabilities, all of that investment and that potential won't be maximally unlocked. And so that's what we'll also wrap up with our discussion. I'd ask that, for our attendees, if you could please mute yourself during the discussion. We will have time at the end for Q&A with our panel. And with that, I'd like to go ahead and introduce our panel, and I would ask them to go ahead and introduce themselves and their role, and a little bit about the organization that they represent. Obviously, Google, we pretty much are well aware of, but why don't we go ahead and start with you, Rama, introduce yourself and Yazi.
Absolutely. Thank you, Andrew. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone, for making the time and join us today. My name is Rama Zuma Lethal, and I am the founder and CEO of Yazi, along with Andrew and the team here. What is Yazi? Yazi is a technology-first company headquartered out of Accra and Ghana and Nairobi, Kenya. We were founded as an MSP, right, a managed service provider. We have evolved into a one-stop shop for digital acquisition, growth, and transformation. We are now an MSP, an ISV, which is an independent software vendor, and a development shop. What sets us apart from any competitors or anyone in the market is our team of dedicated professionals that are all Google Cloud certified and focus on helping our customers reach their digital goals. In any digital transformation endeavor, we often start with Google Workspace because without collaboration as a basis, it is harder to reach intended objectives. Nick, on to you.
Great.
Thank you, Rama, and thank you, Andrew, as well. So my name is Nick. I'm a senior custom engineer at Digicloud Africa, and we are Google's distributor in the Africa region. It is kind of a new thing for Google. Generally, there is Google at the top, and then they manage a bunch of partners, whether it be Google Cloud or Google Workspace. And then for Africa specifically, Google started about 4 years ago, putting a distribution model in place. And at Digicloud Africa, we are generally, all of us have worked at other partners, other premier partners, and we've come in underneath distribution to show other Google partners on the continent what it is they should be doing and how to drive adoption and change management and the various Google products that they sell. Yazi has been selling Google Workspace for a long time as well, so they're not new to this. So we just kind of supplement each other and learn from each other wherever we can, but we also help drive the importance of digital transformation and change management, and not just focusing on the technical aspect of the product. But we basically assist the partners who are our customers, and the end customers will always be a customer of the partner. And if everything goes right, we just silently sit in the background to support the partners along with Google. And Francois, over to you.
Hi, everybody. I'm very happy to be here. So I joined Google almost 2 years ago, and I'm the Google Workspace territory manager for Sub-Saharan Africa. And as Nick said, Google, we create and develop the solution Google Workspace, among others, such as Google Cloud Platform. But basically, what we do is we leverage our partner ecosystem, and especially Yazi and Digicloud Africa, in order to resell the licenses, do the change management piece, but also the data migration. And hand to hand with Yazi and Digicloud Africa, we have been helping many companies, many clients, to move away from their old solution, on-premise solutions, or other emailing solutions to Google Workspace, for many reasons, and I believe we're gonna talk about it now. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much, everyone. And just the baseline, I think pretty much everyone uses a Google service or a product, multiple times throughout their day, whether it be Gmail or Google Search. But just the level set, why don't we go ahead and start with, what is Google Workspace, and what does it include?
Yeah, Raman, do you want to take the first question?
Yeah, I like to start that out. So really, for me, Google Workspace is a suite of cloud-based productivity and collaboration tools that can help transform any organization, right? It can improve their productivity and help them collaborate more effectively, right? Workspace can help teams increase their productivity by working more efficiently and effectively. For example, when you take the feature in Gmail, the smart label feature or the snoozing feature, they can help you stay organized and stay on top of your inbox. Doc sheets, slides can make it easy to collaborate on document in real time. And Meet and Chat provide a convenient way for you to hold video meetings and to have conversation amongst your peers, right? If you have a Gmail account, then you have already used Workspace at one point or another. The difference between the consumer version which is Gmail and Workspace is a plethora of security and management features that businesses can make use of. Right, Workspace is a great choice for organizations that want to improve their productivity and collaboration without having to invest a ton of money in training. It is affordable, and especially when you compare it to productivity and collaboration suites, other collaboration suites, you realize how affordable it can be. Nick?
Thanks, Rama. For me, when I think about Workspace, it kind of goes back to when I first started working in Google Workspace. It was 2013. It was called Google Apps. Before, it was called G Suite, and it was very much a different product back then. Back then, it was pretty much email, calendar, contacts, Drive, Docs, and Sheets. And it was very good. It was a completely different way of working, but it wasn't quite enterprise ready. And then over the last decade, Google has just accelerated how many new features they are pushing into the product every day. All the technical people on this call would know we subscribe to the Google Workspace blog update posts, and on a daily basis, it sends you out alerts on new features, whether it's in Docs or in Slides or in Gmail, or whether it is new products that it's making available to Google Workspace. But Google is very good at rolling out features at an alarming pace. Especially since 2020, when COVID hit, you could just see them accelerating how they're rolling out features into the platform. And for me, the core about Google Workspace is the fact that everything is online. We like to say it's a cloud native system that was born in the cloud for the cloud. It wasn't an offline system that was lifted and shifted into the cloud to kind of accommodate those people that want to work in the cloud. Google had this vision of this new way of working and collaborating, and it starts by getting everyone online and putting everyone in the cloud. And for those people that kind of hold on to Outlook, we would say those are often the people that sign up for Google Workspace. But then after rolling out Google Workspace, they IMAP straight back into Outlook, which is kind of like their safe space. And my message would be, embrace the Chrome browser. Step into the cloud with both feet and see what it's like when you kind of let go of the old way of doing things and start working in this new way of doing things. And that is also what is magical about Google Workspace, because it's not giving you a different technology, but it also fosters this digital transformation inside the organization, which is a lot of what companies want to do. They want to achieve that digital transformation by rolling out a new technology. And hand in hand with the technology piece is the change management and the digital transformation piece. It's baked into Google Workspace. It is a large part of what Digicloud focuses on, is not just from my end, technically upskilling partners, but also from a colleague of mine, where she would focus on training and change management, which is often the larger portion of a migration. It's not just the technical side of things. I like to say migrating your emails, that's easy. Setting up the user accounts, that's easy, but you need to take the users on the journey with you, and you need to drive that adoption from within inside the organization. So you would communicate to the users, this is the new technology we're rolling out, and this is the way which we recommend in which you use it. And if you work in this way, it'll solve all those old problems. And then, bit by bit, you transform into a digital native organization, even though you might have existed for 20 or 30 years and you used to drag a large legacy estate behind you that's just a patch on top of a patch on top of a patch. So that to me is kind of the core of the magic about Google Workspace and why it drives digital transformation and why everyone, especially in Africa, raves about Google Workspace, because it's an interface your users are used to. It's a technology they already know and love. And when you roll it out from a corporate perspective, now you're just showing them everything else this product can do as well. And later on, we'll talk a little bit about security, and then I'll show you guys the control panel. But it's really everything in one tool set. So I think I'll leave it for now and hand over to Francois from Google.
Thank you, Nick. Thank you so much. And thank you, Rama, as well. I'll try to be short. But basically, what is Google? Google is about being innovative. It's about being smart. It's about being flexible. It's about being simple. And, we, as Google, as an organization, we created Google Workspace, and especially Gmail before Google Workspace, many decades ago, early 2000. And we were not an expert in that topic, not at all. But what happened back then is that we were known for this Google search organization, this Google search product. And that's how we grew up, and we made billions of dollars on an annual revenue because we are so good at it. And what happened is we needed to have a collaboration suite of products when it comes to emailing solution or VC or Drive and stuff like this, where to store our documents. And at that stage, the offers that we had, the solution that were available, did not fit our requirements. We couldn't find a solution that was about being collaborative and about being productive, that was a simple tool to use, and that was easy and secure. That's why at Google, all of our engineers, all of our employees, they can do the 20% projects, which is 20% on top of your core activities. And that's how they decided they actually not only decided, but they developed this solution. And they have created it with, and they've made it with the philosophy of Google behind it, and actually integrated the philosophy of Google within it, which makes it a solution that is easy to use, smart, and innovative. And for this reason, we have been using that solution, us at Google. Google is the first customer of Google Workspace for many years, and it has helped us escalate and be a hyperscaler as we are today. And what we can see as well is, since we have made it available to the public, and I'm especially talking about gmail.com, then we have now, after only a few years, 3 billion users on gmail.com. So now, if you give the opportunity to anybody to choose between all of the tools that are available on the market, and you give them the opportunity to use gmail.com, almost biologically, naturally, they'll choose Google, they'll choose gmail.com. So don't be the last one to actually choose the best solution ever available on the market, which I believe is Google Workspace.
Definitely, completely agree. And I hope everyone now has an understanding of the awesome capabilities that Workspace provides. And, let's take it one step further. And, I'd love to hear, how are organizations, specifically using Workspace to improve their productivity and their collaboration? Can we talk about some use cases or specific examples with how these incredible capabilities are being used in different organizations? Maybe Rama, if you want to start.
Yeah, absolutely. We'd love to take a look at that. I think there's a bit of let's start with the way that's Francois just ended, right? Google started Workspace for their own use case, right? They wanted to build a solution that would be easy for them, but at the same time will meet all the demands. And then they made it available for everyone. And in the way that they use Google Workspace, any organization and any team whatsoever can make use of Workspace. But I'm just going to focus on a couple of teams for today, right? Let's think about the marketing team, for example. A marketing team can make use of Google Workspace by collaborating and creating and editing marketing materials. They can use docs to create documents. They can use sheets to create spreadsheets and track their activities. They can use Slide to create presentation. They can use chat to communicate with each other in real time and meet to hold video meetings, right? Sales teams can use Workspace to track leads, manage customer relations, collaborate on sales proposals. They can use Gmail to send and receive email, calendar to schedule appointments, and Drive to store their files, right? The number of customers that we talk to that sort of shift to Google end up making use, not just use of the tools, but they realize that the interworkings of these tools is really the magic of it, right? Being able to not only start with one tool, but transition into another. For example, you can start a conversation within chat. And while you're having a conversation within chat, you realize that this conversation is to be evolved into a larger meeting. So then you then add a Google Meet, and now you're meeting sort of virtually but face to face, and you're able to add colleagues so that you can now collaborate. And while you're within that collaboration environment, you can now pull a Jamboard, right? And you can ideate live. You can ideate and come up with new solutions for the problem that you're talking about. And you can move on from there and take that solution, migrate it into a Google Docs where you can now continue to add comments to the things, to the workflow that you have. So it's really sort of the interconnectedness of all of these tools that not only enable you to collaborate with one another, but allow you to take your productivity to the next level.
Thank you, Rama. What I want to focus on is app sheets, and I'll explain to you in a second what that is. And then also I'll tell a customer story on how one of the retailers in South Africa solved a very real problem using app sheets. But before that, what Rama said, kind of how all of the products are integrated reminds me of a line of Sundar, who's obviously the CEO of Google. And it was in one of the Cloud Next events that he mentioned, and I'm going to butcher his line, but he said, if you look at Workspace as a whole is more than the sum total of each individual products. It's not just Gmail, and it's not just Drive and Calendar. It's not these standalone products. And when you take those products and you add them together, you get something more than their combined sum total. And that is Workspace, how everything is integrated across the board. And it's not just these individual standalone products. That's very much part of the magic of Google Workspace. And then moving on to AppSheet, one of the announcements that Google made at the beginning of this week, or it might have been the end of last week, they have a no-code application called AppSheet, and it's now being released. Instead of just being included on the highest enterprise SKU, AppSheet is being made available to all of the SKUs of Google Workspace. So from Business Starter all the way through to Enterprise Plus that had it to begin with. And this is a no-code application from Google, which is really magic. A lot of companies, one of the biggest companies in the world using it is Airbus. Airbus have decided that they will be using AppSheet for all their internal workflows. So if there's a workflow that needs to be built, it's going to be built in AppSheet. And it is compatible on any device, any internet connected device, whether it's iOS, Android, tablet, Chrome browser, on a or any browser on a MacBook, Windows device. It doesn't matter. It's just compatible with all sorts of devices. It's got offline functionality built into it, and it's that application that with no code you can design an interface that asks a bunch of questions, a bunch of inputs from the users. The back-end database can be a Excel file, a Google Sheet. It can be a cloud database. It has its own database built in as well, which is also a new feature rolled out a couple of months back. So within AppSheet, you can build any type of workflow, whether it is for onboarding employees, or whether it is a delivery driver needing to map to his next client where he needs to drop off a particular package after taking a photo of it. All of that functionality you can build within AppSheets using no code. And the example in South Africa, it might have been last year, it might have been the year before. Because of the last 3 years of lockdown and COVID and restrictions, it's all kind of a blur. But it was in the middle of lockdown, we had the riots in South Africa where a lot of stores were looted and burned down. And one of the largest retailers in South Africa is running on Google Workspace, and they had access to AppSheets. So they have a couple of thousand stores across South Africa, and about 400 of those were either looted or burnt down, or it was just ransacked, but they didn't really know. They needed people to go out and go and check the state of those stores. So they built an application that could be pushed out to the 100+ branch managers across South Africa. It could be remotely installed on their device, this AppSheet application. And what they needed was these branch managers to go around to their branches and check, was your branch looted? Was it just ransacked? Was the tool stolen? Was it burnt down? Has it been stripped down to a white box? Is there anything left standing? What is the status of the building? So it was a very long submission of take a photo of this, take a photo of that, let us know by checkboxes if this is stolen, if that's stolen. And the purpose of it was twofold. Number one, they needed to submit a lot of evidence to insurance to kind of get the insurance claims up and running to get that going. And for that, you just need to go and collect a tremendous amount of data from all of these different stores. And secondly, they also needed to get the stores back up and running as quickly as possible. So with this AppSheet application, we rolled it out within 24 hours. The next day, we jumped on a video call with more than 100 people, explained to them this application is already installed on your company-owned device that is managed by Google Workspace as well. So open up the application, easy enough to use. So go to your store, open it up, make a new submission. And while you're doing that, you're ticking boxes, typing in answers, taking photos, and all of that is submitted through this application. And then the data sits in a Google Sheet in the back end. The photos are uploaded to Google Drive and linked into the same spreadsheet. People at the company at head office is alerted of every new submission, and then it ticks off all the branches that has been basically they've ran through and they've submitted a submission on that particular branch. So they could track everything from head office. It could be rolled out within 24 hours. And it was just simple and easy to use. If you had to build an application like that, I wouldn't know where to start. Rama and Andrew, they're Google Cloud partners as well, so not just Workspace. So they actually physically build applications as well. Rama can maybe talk about how long it would take to physically build an application like that and roll it out. But with Google Workspace, it was just easy. And that's often the theme you'll come across in Google Workspace. Things are just easier. You're not managing infrastructure and servers. You're simply managing users and devices, and everything is in the cloud. So it kind of just makes things very easy from that perspective, and Google giving you all the tools you need regardless of the use case. So I think I'll pause there and hand it back to Rama and Andrew.
Wonderful.
Great. You know, and it's amazing when you see from, you know, all the way from one side of the organization in sales and marketing, all the way through to, you know, operations, technology back end, human resources. Every department has the ability to collaborate, not just in the corporate business sector, but also in healthcare and in, you know, nonprofit and government institutions. They all can collaborate and support, which brings me to my next question. You know, with all of this collaboration and with email, with files, with apps, you know, one of the biggest concerns that organizations have, especially with a distributed team, is security. How do I keep my email environment, my documents and files, how do I keep them secure and, you know, in a stored location or in a secure environment where my teams can easily collaborate, but also maintain the highest level of security so that I know my intellectual property is protected? You know, maybe Francois, if you could talk about the security capabilities in Workspace.
Yeah, thanks, Andrew. Well, I believe this is one of the most important questions that we have to ask ourselves, and especially companies out there, because, you know, the UN warns, the United Nations organization warns that cybercrime went up to 600% during the COVID-19 pandemic. As many companies went from on-premise solution or hybrid solution to the cloud, then, you know, cyber attacks went up as well. Because, you know, when it can be a government being attacked or an organization because the competition wants to have access to their data. And if they get access to the data, then many companies, you know, they will even crash. They wouldn't even survive the fact that the data is being stolen by somebody else. So I believe this is one of the key questions. Yes, exactly, 600% increase. So malicious actors repeatedly exploit vulnerabilities in emailing solutions, such as Microsoft, for example, to penetrate government and organization systems. And as an example, in January 2021, and very recently in 2023, Microsoft experienced a data breach of its email servers. The main reason is because, you know, Microsoft, they went from on-premise to the cloud. So its infrastructure was not, was not built for the cloud and with all the security capabilities and needs technically that you need to put into it. In comparison, in June 2022, Google Cloud blocked the largest cyber attack ever launched in the history of the internet. On June 1st, a Google Cloud customer was targeted with a series of attacks with a peak at 46 million requests per second. This is the largest reported to date, at least 76th larger than the previously reported record attack that we have heard of. To give a sense of the scale of the attack, that is like receiving all the daily requests to Wikipedia, which is one of the top 10 trafficked websites in the world, in just 10 seconds. So how does Google fight against cyber attacks? Well, from the very beginning, we have put into place a zero trust approach, and we believe that it is essential to effectively respond to these and future cyber attacks. And in that particular area, Google is a leader in data security. And Google Workspace especially provides a unique and differentiated solution to the ongoing challenge of this, of this problem, of this challenge, which is cyber attacks. Obviously, if you wish to know more about the Google Workspace capabilities when it comes to security, please reach out to us after this webinar. And I believe that Nick is going to do a short demo around that specific topic. So handing it over to Nick.
Thank you, Francois. And Andrew, I'm just going to ask your help to keep me on track, because as soon as I do a screen share and log into that admin panel, I can go down a rabbit hole myself.
No worries.
So let me just share this window. I'll drop you guys on another window. Okay. So When you want to access the admin panel, you obviously just navigate to admin.google.com and you just need to sign in with the right credentials. And sure, give me 1 second. Okay, let's try this again. I know the password was right.
Wrong credentials, Nick.
No, it would tell you wrong password. Okay, excellent. So this is the admin panel, and this is where you do everything from inside Google Workspace. So at Digicloud, we have no infrastructure. We've got people and we've got devices, and we manage both of those with this admin panel. You also have got a variety of different security settings that I'll go into in a second, but you can also see under devices. So what are we able to manage from a devices perspective? I can manage all my mobile and endpoints. Think of an endpoint as a MacBook running the Chrome browser or a Windows device running the Chrome browser. They call those Chrome browsers the endpoints, and then all of your mobile devices. So under settings, I can manage all my Android settings, all my iPhone settings. You can also now manage Windows devices itself, those Windows CSP policies. You can manage that using Google Workspace as well. That's just all included in the suite. You can also set up device approvals if you need to, and you can see a audited list of all your devices that you can disable at any time. So I can sign out the user, wipe the account, delete the device, or view the audit info on that particular device. And you can see it's a mixture between Windows, Android, Chrome OS, Mac OS, Windows. So a lot of different type of devices. So although I cannot manage a MacBook itself, I can still get you manage the Chrome browser on any MacBook, any Linux, any Windows device. So that's just to briefly touch on the device side of things. I can also manage the networks on those various devices. So you don't have to hand out the Wi-Fi password at the office. You simply manage the mobile devices or your company-owned devices, and you push the Wi-Fi configuration to them. But where we want to focus is on the security side of things. And what we haven't brought up today yet is something like ransomware. And I think with everything that we've mentioned about security, a lot of it is to do with ransomware. And the one thing that I love about Google Workspace is that it is impervious to ransomware. And that's also why we say, step into the Chrome browser with both feet. Don't move on to Workspace and IMAP back into Outlook, because Outlook isn't impervious to ransomware, or the Windows operating system isn't impervious to ransomware. But everything that I run in the Chrome browser is. So that's why I keep my emails in the Gmail tab in the browser. I keep my documents in the Drive tab in the browser. So this is not my real Chrome browser. I've got two more Chrome browsers open to the right. And what I can show you is just the tabs on those devices. So if I zoom in ever so slightly. So I've got a laptop with a bunch of open tabs, but that's not the device that I'm on. Oh, it's not going to show me this device because it's physically this device that I'm on. So this device that I'm on, a Windows device, I probably have about 80 open tabs in the other Chrome browser. So it can deal with a lot. And if you look at what I've got open up on the laptop, I've got slideshow presentations, Google support sites, I've got spreadsheets, I've got Google Forms. So the Chrome browser can deal with an awful lot. A lot of the times people would mention the Chrome browser consumes a lot of resources. We're like, yes, but you're asking the Chrome browser to be your Outlook, your email, your calendar, your contacts. You're asking the Chrome browser to be your document store, your My Documents or your OneDrive. You're asking Chrome browser to be your Excel and your Word and your Zoom, your video conferencing. You're asking it to be all of that, and it can, but for that, there's a price to pay with regards to resources, but not too heavy. So getting back to the security side of things, if I expand the security section, we'll end on the security center, but we can start at authentication, managing the users and the various password settings and single sign-on settings that I have for those users. I don't want to click into these settings because then we get a little bit too much on the detail side of things. But Google Workspace, it's not just a modern directory with single sign-on capabilities. It's also the old school LDAP directory that doesn't have those single sign-on and two-factor authentication capabilities. So it's both. If I open up so you can see the directory sync, that's actually not what I wanted to show. It's under apps. I've got my LDAP. So it's both your old school Active Directory LDAP as well as under security authentication, I can see my single sign-on option. So it's also your Azure directory. And in the Microsoft world, they would recommend just link those two together. You can't have one or the other. You must have both. And in Google, it's like, well, you can just have all that functionality within the same control panel. You can have two-step verification. You can also set up single sign-on with SAML applications. And the idea is that you want to give your users one set of credentials that you manage, like Google Workspace, which is arguably one of the best at authentication, two-step verification methods, whether it's a USB key, a phone call on a desk phone, or an app on your smartphone, or the Google prompt method that simply pops up a yes or no on your phone. You no longer have to type out a 6-digit code that gets sent to you via text message. They've got all those two-step verification options. So once you've got that in place and you've rolled out two-step verification to all of your users, you then want to use single sign-on as much as possible. If you're using Zoho and Freshdesk and Slack and Salesforce and all these other software as a service vendors, you can set up single sign-on with those. So you don't have separate credentials to manage in all these third-party applications. You've got one set of credentials to manage, and that's Google Workspace. And that comes with a username and a password and a two-step verification code. So strong authentication mechanisms. It's not just about what you know, your password. It's about what you know and what you have. Your password and your smartphone, or your password and your USB security key to authenticate. You also have a new passwordless beta login mechanism. I'm not going to go into the details about that, but Google keeps on being on the forefront of technology, whether it is two-step verification or Google Drive or how Gmail is architected. They don't think of security as an afterthought. They don't build a great product and then go, great, now let's secure all the holes in the product. They think about security at a fundamental ground level. And then moving on to how would you secure your users and your data? So that's where we come to the access and the data control. And that's where you've got all of the abilities to switch off certain access or data types for your users, or third-party applications accessing the data of your users. And I'll mention a couple of examples, but it's also where you get your DLP, your data loss prevention. It's also where you can set certain policies that particular emails or particular Drive documents with certain keywords cannot be shared outside the organization, or it can be shared outside the organization, but just prompt a warning for the user. Just let the user know this document potentially has sensitive information in it. You would set that up underneath data protection. It's twofold. It works with data classification and data protection. So on the one side, you can have a team setting up all your data classification rules. And on the other side, you can have another team that takes those rules, those data classification rules, and put them into practice. So when this rule is triggered, what should the action be that gets kicked off? And that action is normally don't allow the email to be sent out, or don't allow the Drive document to be shared outside the organization. And it also lets you know why you should keep everything in the Chrome browser and not IMAP back into Outlook, and not keep users in a desktop environment. Let them step into the browser environment. And on the browser, everything is managed as well. So you can see, so you can't see the pop-up because I'm only sharing a window. But if I click on the 3 dots to go into the Chrome settings, right at the bottom, it says Managed by Digicloud. If I go into the Chrome settings, I might be able to show you that as well. Here, you see it right at the top. So my Chrome browser is managed by Digicloud. And this Chrome browser is linked to this control panel. So if I go back, apologies, if I go back into devices, Chrome, and managed browsers, you will see my browser there. Those are Chrome devices. I want to go to endpoints and devices. So it should list my Chrome browser device amongst all of these as well. So you can see there's a Chrome OS device as well. But you get to manage the Chrome browser with Google Workspace as well. And that Chrome browser is managed regardless of which device I'm signing into. Getting back to the security side of things, Francois, top of the list, yes. So that is also the Windows device. And there's about 800 plus policies that you get to manage on the Chrome browser side of things, regardless of which device it's on. You also get to control the API controls. So if your users are using a CRM system like HubSpot, and HubSpot would often request access to that user's contacts or to Gmail, so I can send emails on your behalf, you get to decide which applications gets access to your users' data or not. So we've specifically configured 8 applications to allow access. There's a further 199 applications we use with limited access, but you get to switch off the API scopes for these applications or not. If you click into that, and if you just check out the view list, you can see a very long list of all the different applications we use. You can see all the details, which users are using it, and also what access to your users' data you have. And from this control panel, you can just switch that off if that's what you intend to do. So change the access, and then you can do it for selected organizational unit or for the whole organization, but you can block it, limit the scope to specific data, or trust the application if you trust that third party and what they're doing with the access to the user's data. So at all times, you are completely in control.
Excellent. Excellent. Nick, sorry to cut you off, but
No, you have to.
But I hope everyone sees here how employees and team members enter, how they operate and work within, and managing if they need to be exited. All of that control and capability in one unified platform. And for those of you that would love a deeper dive on the security aspects, I know Nick will love to set up a call and do a deep dive because, we can't do it justice in the quick 10 minutes. But thank you so much just for providing that insight of how secure Workspace is with protecting your employees and their data to make sure you have a secure and collaborative environment. And, that's where I'd love to talk about, all these great capabilities in security, but, where is Google going in the future? What are the things that are up and coming? And, I'd love, for Francois to talk about, some of the exciting capabilities. We've all heard about ChatGPT and, the opportunity of AI that's coming in with Duet AI into Workspace that's going to be available in the near future. I'd love for Francois to talk about what's coming that will continue to build on these capabilities that Workspace brings to teams.
Thank you, Andrew, and thank you, Nick, for this very good presentation around the Security Console and the Admin Console. When it comes to Google and being innovative again, obviously artificial intelligence has a huge role to play. So it's definitely, I know it's top of mind for everybody at the moment, and it seems that it's something new, but it's actually something quite old, to be honest. When we go back to Google and how we do things. In 2014, we bought a company, DeepMind, which was called DeepMind. It's actually still at the moment called DeepMind, but it's part of Alphabet, and which is part, the corporation that also includes Google. So basically, we have been investing in the artificial intelligence for many years, almost 10 years now. So, it's definitely not something new, and it's something we're so excited at the moment because, we have accelerated so much. But in gmail.com and obviously in Google Workspace as well, you already, if you're users of Gmail or Google Workspace, you are already using artificial intelligence. When you want to send an email out, then the artificial intelligence embodied within Gmail is going to give you the rest of the phrase when you already of the sentence when you already just begun, or it's going to give you contacts. You're putting in CC somebody, and then it gives you a few examples of others that the artificial intelligence knows that you have been working as a group on this specific project, and so it will make it simple for you to choose those persons. But when it comes to Bard being released a few weeks ago and what we call Duet AI being integrated now as part of Google Workspace, I want to show you the capabilities of this. And basically, I'm going to demonstrate the capabilities of what we call Duet AI within Google Workspace using a demo, doing a demo as well, as Nick just done. So I'm going to present to you my inbox. So what you see at the moment on your screen is definitely an email that I'm going to write. So this is my professional inbox, email inbox, and I'm going to send. I have let's imagine that I have a meeting with Nick, but also with Rama from Yazi. So already the artificial intelligence of Google is going to give you a sample of people that you used to work with, especially with those two people. So for example, Andrew, yes, I forgot about Andrew. I'm going to click on Andrew because I know, he's going to be part of this conversation as well. And then I'm going to put some kind of topic, being late. Imagine you are in the train or in your car, and for some reasons you're going to be late because there is too much traffic, like most of the time, and you really want to do something quick. So you're going to click on Help Me Write, which is this very small and tiny pen at the right corner of the Send button in Gmail, right? I'm going to click on it, and I'm going to ask him to help me write something. So let them know that I'm going to be late to the meeting. And then you click on Create. The AI is going to create the message. And at the moment, so what it's offering me is, dear, I'm writing to inform you that I will be late to the meeting today. I have a doctor's appointment, so he's picking it up, but I can change that, right? That I cannot reschedule. I apologize for any inconvenience this may cause. What I can do is I can ask him to, let's say it's a customer. It's not a partner, it's a customer or a client. So I want it to be more formalized. So the AI is going to recreate the message within the Gmail, and is going to make it more professional. What I can do is I can shorten the message as well, because it's actually not a client, but it's actually, I don't know, just a partner. And I can also click on I'm feeling lucky. And when I click on I'm feeling lucky, then it's going to create something potentially completely different. And based on your habits and your trends, it's going to be more acquainted to how you're used to do things, and then it's going to be even more and more relevant in the future. So then I click on including this in the email, and then I'm going to put my name at the end of it, and then and I'm going to say hi, Nick and team. And then I just have to click on send the email. It can be anything, but this is only an example. The second thing that I want to share with you is actually if you're going on a document, on a doc, on a Google Doc. I'm going to call this test. And same then with gmail.com, I'm going to click on the pen, which is the help me write option. And for this example, I've already thought of something. So I'm going to ask him to craft a recommendation letter for a colleague of mine. I'm clicking on create, and the AI again is actually creating a recommendation letter for a colleague. Here we go. To whom it may concern, I'm writing to recommend colleague's name. So I'm going to include the colleague's name for the position of Nana at your company. I had the pleasure of working with my colleague for the past number of years at company. During that time, I've been consistently impressed by her work ethic, dedication, and professionalism. Blah, blah, blah. It continues like this. And then again, I will be able to make it more professional or friendlier or something like this, depending on who I'm going to address this letter. And then I'm clicking on the insert button, it shows me where I have to change something, because I don't want to, make it sound like it's actually AI you created it. But then it's very interesting so dear Nick, I'm writing to recommend Andrew for a position of blah, 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 right? So I think everybody gets the idea behind. And another thing that I want to showcase is actually Google Slide. We also have AI capabilities in Google Sheets, but this is something to automate. For example, you want to address a specific topic to a specific, I don't know, or you want to run an email campaign to all of your clients or all of your partners, and you can automate actually and make it more personalized to this specific campaign using the AI within the Google Sheets, within Google Sheets. So when it comes to Google Slide, what I can do is actually using Google Slide to create. So at some point, not at the moment, but at some point, I will be able to ask from a Google Doc, Google Slide, to create an entire presentation based on, everything that is part of the Google Doc, and that will be integrated within Google Sheets as a presentation using the artificial intelligence. At the moment, what I'm going to present to you is just the fact that we can create images using AI. So I've thought of something as well, and I want help me visualize the tool, the AI tool, to create an image of a giraffe in front of the Eiffel Tower. And I even can add a style. So I want it to be a watercolor presentation or watercolor image type of. I'm clicking on the create button on the right. The AI does the work. And it will give me a few options of images that I will be able to include in the presentation. So using watercolors type of image, this is what the AI created for a giraffe in front of the Eiffel Tower. So you can see the capabilities of the AI, and it's only the beginning. But basically, if you're using Google Workspace, you can be sure that, at some point you will be, if not already, you will be using AI. And this is something that we are so excited about. Thank you so much. And I'm passing it over to Andrew.
Excellent. Excellent. So exciting. It's like almost every employee gets their own veteran assistant to help them, whether it be writing a proposal, a contract, building visuals, right there, integrated across Workspace. All right, great. So maybe, just to wrap things up, how does an organization get started with Workspace, and what training is available? Rama, why don't you go ahead and wrap us up here? 2 minutes. How do we get started? How do we get the training and enablement for their teams? And love to take a question or two if we have any.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think it's been great. I really, really enjoyed that presentation, Nick and Francois. The giraffe in front of the Eiffel Tower, again, to me is the nail biter. I really enjoyed that. When it comes to getting started with Google Workspace, it's easier than you can think, right? You can get started with a proof of concept where you can use Google Workspace for a period of time risk-free, right? You can also start with migrating your data to Drive first, right? Where you can change your team's collaboration habits, utilizing Drive, Doc Sheets, and Slides, as you just saw. You can also just start with a month pilot, right? We are readily available to help you get started. To learn more immediately, I'll recommend going to the Google Workspace website. There's a plethora of information there, right? From use cases, people making use of Google Workspace to create incredible things and innovating constantly, right? You can also just reach out to us for a demo, similar to the demo Nick just walked you through. We will focus on the demo to your needs. We'll make sure that it is customized to the way that you work, so that you are able to see the value in Workspace. You can reach out to our sales team, right? You can reach out to our sales team on WhatsApp at 1-888-823-YAZI, or you can just reach out to our email at sales@goyazi.com. After this call, Andrew will be sending out an email to everyone, so you'll be able to see to have the recording of this webinar. But more than that, you'll be able to get our contact so you can reply to us, so you don't need to take note on any of the information I just gave you. It is infinitely easy to get started, and we love partnering with Google and Digicloud because they sort of give us all the tools that we need to be superheroes and enable our customers the right way. So reach out to us. We are readily available to help.
Excellent. Thank you so much to our presenters for a great presentation. And we have maybe another minute or two. So are there any questions? If you want to come off mute, if there's any questions for any of our presenters, feel free to come off mute and ask any questions. All right. It sounds like we've done quite a good job covering everything. As Rama mentioned, yes, go ahead.
Okay, so what are some of the challenges organizations face when implementing Google Workspace?
I'm happy to take that one.
Go ahead, Nick.
So,
Go ahead, Nick.
yeah, thanks for the question, Philip. I would say predominantly it's not a technical challenge. It is a change management challenge. The best advice we can give companies that want to roll out Google Workspace is take your users on the journey with you. They are capable of far more than you think they are capable of. Just communicate to them, let them know that you're about to embark on this journey and where in the journey you are, but it's about continual communication. The technical problems have all been solved before. You can integrate with on-prem AD or with Azure AD or any other LDAP if you need to sync your users from LDAP. You can integrate into Salesforce and Freshdesk and Zoho and all sorts of applications. You can authenticate on-prem applications against Google. Like from a technical perspective, all those problems have been solved before. The biggest hurdle, and often we get this if you do a sales to the deployment department handover. It's like, okay, what promises did the salespeople make? Okay, I hear you. Yes, we can deliver on those. But do you realize, Mr. Customer, that you're not going to IMAP back into Outlook? Like you are now stepping into the Chrome browser. It's a new way of working. So I would say the frustrations that customers sometimes experience trying to roll out Workspace is it's trying to squeeze Workspace into their old way of doing things. And then you don't have the best of times. There's nothing you can't do in Microsoft that you can do in Workspace and vice versa. No, there's nothing that you can do in Microsoft that you can't do. Yeah, it's not vice versa.
We tried it, it's not vice versa.
Yeah, but what we say to those customers is work in the way that Google designed the tool.
Absolutely. I think
Okay.
if I can add to that, I think one of the things that Nick hit right on the nail with is change management. I think most companies think that it's a technical burden. It's going to be a mountain to climb. The reality is, as Nick mentioned, it is easy to get going, right? Technology is already being solved for. What you need to worry about is the change management, and you need to take your team along right along with you.
Great. Again, thank you so much to our panelists. We appreciate everyone's time. We'll be sending up a follow-up email and look forward to speaking and answering any other questions that the group may have. Thank you again, everyone. Enjoy your afternoon.